All right, let's see. Microphone on. Check, check. That's on. That's on. What's happening? Hopefully the microphone don't crap out because it's the battery's low. Ivan, what's going down? G that, what's happening? If the audio cuts out, let me know because the microphone battery might be dead. I got the other one charging right now though. What's happening? What's happening? Javion, what's happening? MM Customs, what's going down, man? It's Tuesday. Live stream every Tuesday. Tuesday T-shirt talk, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you guys got questions, I'll try to answer them. I might have answers. We'll see. Been busy. Hell yeah, that's good. Busy's always good, man. I've been knocking down these World Cup shirts, man. World Cup has been consuming my every move lately, but it's been good. Kathleen Thompson, what's going down? Yeah, I need to start prepping and getting ready for this Hawaiian festival we got coming up in July. I got a bunch of hats I got to run, bunch of t-shirts and stuff, but the World Cup stuff's been moving, man. Trying to see if I can start making World Cup shirts. Hell yeah, get in, man. Get in. Haven't started as yet. I would say get in now. Um, a good indicator for yourself. I don't know where you live in the world, but what I did was I went down to my local mall, Delamo Mall, and then I went to go check out like what the jersey sales look like, what people were buying and stuff like that. And I'm in LA, so I noticed Mexico jerseys all sold out. USA jerseys all sold out. So that just tells me people are buying to support their teams. And since these teams' jerseys are sold out, means people that are going to be going to the mall looking for stuff, looking stuff like to wear to the watch parties. Like Mexico plays tomorrow, USA plays on Thursday. People are going to be going to the bars, to the watch parties, and all that stuff, and they want to represent. So it's a good time to like put stuff out. So that's how it's working out for myself, and it's all basically word of mouth. I put up that post of me making the Mexico shirt, and then I got a bunch of inquiries asking if I can make some shirts. If they're local to here, like to where I'm at, because I wasn't shipping nothing. If they're local, then I was taking their orders on. Altered Image Designs, what's happening, man? Catching live, appreciate that, man. Javion's in Jamaica, hell yeah. And even Jamaica jerseys sold out. I know you guys ain't in the World Cup, but the Jamaica jerseys is sold out because they did the Bob Marley ones with Adidas before the World Cup started, and even those are booming, man. It's good money, um, and for the people that are like in the AI space or familiar with the AI space and know how to like create designs through AI, it's even easier. You know what I mean? You just create some designs, give them the good prompts, spit out some good designs, and you slap them on these t-shirts for fans that are going to these watch parties, man. Tank tops. Tank tops are another one because a lot of these watch parties here in Los Angeles are down in Venice Beach or at Santa Monica, or they're outdoors at the Coliseum. So all of these places, and if they're daytime games and it's been warm here in Los Angeles, it's been like mid 70s for the last 2 weeks. Tank tops is a big one. So if you could do some Mexico, US, any country tank tops for people around here. I'm speaking geographically located in Los Angeles. It's easy money right now. But I know that there's watch parties all over the place. So try to jump in and try to cash in on some of this stuff, man. Stephen Marley show was off the hook. That's right. That was on Sunday. That was on Sunday, man, at the Greek or Hollywood Bowl or something like that. It's hard to actually get the good quality jersey. That's my challenge, though. Oh, I see what you're saying, man. I'm selling T-shirts. I'm not selling any jerseys. I'm seeing who's buying jerseys and what jerseys are sold out. That tells me that there's other fans looking to buy stuff. And if the jerseys are sold out, then the next best thing is some T-shirts. So that's where I'm kind of sliding in and making some money. Let me see. I have an issue with my heat press. In some past live feeds, I set the press for 375 for 30 seconds. I've waited for 30 minutes, but the temperature jumps to 376. What should I do? 376 isn't bad. Just because it goes up a degree, like if you ever watch any of my videos of me pressing, like on TikTok or on Instagram, you'll see my press is set at 320, but sometimes it's at like 317, sometimes it's at 324. You got to remember, like when heat presses heat up, they're going to go past whatever you have it set to. So if you set it for 375 and you let that thing heat up, it's going to go to like 400 and then it's going to taper back down. So every inch of that thing is 375. You know what I mean? So it's going to look kind of crazy, but you'll be all right. If you have a laser thermometer, that'll help. I would shoot just the areas that you're going to be pressing, and you should be good. Stephen Marley show. Oh, Friday at the OC Fair. The OC Fair is already. Oh, the fairground, the concert venue. That's right. I forgot. That's Friday. I think on the 21st on Sunday was I think Ziggy and them at the Rose Bowl. I mean at Hollywood Bowl or the Greek or something like that. I think I'm gonna be at that Kaloe Kai concert though, in July in Orange County. I'll be at that one. Alex B. Croft, what's happening? Damn, you guys run that hot. The ones I'm using right now are at 270. Yeah, every transfer, every vinyl, every sublimation, everything has a different temperature. Everything presses at way different temps. Some plastisol transfers I press at 370. Some I press at like 330. Super color stuff I do 320, 325. The white toner stuff I've been doing, it has been like around 340. Some sublimation stuff that I've done, I've been at like 380 for like a minute and a half. So yeah, everything just presses at different temps. It depends on what you're using, and it's always good to go based off of like whatever the instructions are at first. Thanks. I won't stress over. Yeah, don't let those numbers freak you out. You know what I mean? Um, get you a laser thermometer and double check it. But if it's within 5 degrees of wherever you're supposed to be at, you're good. Whether higher or lower, you should be all right. But that's how like what a lot of people do is they turn their heat press on, they set it to the temp, and then once it starts like going up, and then it like beeps and says like it's at the whatever you set it at, and then you see the number going above that, it's because it's like it has to heat that whole platen up. So it's going, it'll reach 370 and then it'll go past that and then it'll taper back down. So everything is at 370. That's how most heat presses work because it's a coil system. So, you got to imagine that the coil is going to be hottest at where it's going to start generating the heat from and then disperse from there. So I would say seeing 376 isn't a problem. Not a problem at all. When I had a eBay press, I forgot the name of it, but it was a 15 by 15 clamshell. My thing used to be like crazy off. The readout was like way off. So I got a laser thermometer and then I would set the degrees on the readout based off of the gun. So like let's say I needed the press to be at 350. and and I have it set to 350, and I'm shooting the press, and then it's only reading like 320. So I would bump it up 30 degrees so it reads 350 on the gun, not necessarily on the readout. The readout might have read like 380 or something like that, but I was reading 350 off the gun, and then that was cool because the gun was more accurate than anything else. The laser thermometer gun is what I'm referring to, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I have a one of the other homies that makes shirts out here. He's located in San Pedro. He uses DTF. He doesn't print his own DTF, but he uses DTF transfers. What he did was he did my same little testing technique of like wearing a shirt somewhere where the audience, where his potential customers might be, and then seeing what the response was. He ended up knocking down some Mexico shirts that he did off of AI, and they came out clean. Like it looked like it was like ripped through the t-shirt, and then it was like the flag underneath. Um, Dope ass. It was kind of like a playoff of like Spider-Man, kind of, or like Venom, where it's like has like claw marks where it's like ripping through the shirt, and then it's like the Mexico shirt showing. I mean, the Mexico flag showing through. He had wore that to a watch party, and then ended up getting a really good response. He ordered a bunch of DTF transfers, ended up pressing a bunch of shirts, and then at the next watch party that he went to, which was in San Pedro, which was I think last week, um, he ended up selling a ton of t-shirts. So I mean, everybody is out here making money. So it's a good time for people to jump in and get going. You know what I mean? Hawaii established. What's happening? Says sublimation 405 1 minute. Yeah, man. Like everything presses at a different temp. Everything does. Just scored a HPN Signature Pro 15 by 15 on Facebook Marketplace here in Las Vegas. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. There's some people that's been like coming up on some really good deals. There was I forgot, I don't know if it was a Reddit page or a Facebook group or something where somebody had came up on somebody's whole like t-shirt business. Like they bought everything. They had a vinyl cutter, they had a US vinyl cutter, they had a computer, or I think it was a tablet or something like that, like the one that you could like write on, a heat press. I think it was a Stall's heat press. I can't remember which one it was, but he ended up getting that everything like for under $1,000. Like he bought the person's whole like business kit. The person just wasn't into it no more, or maybe their business went under, or they just weren't, they weren't profitable, so they're liquidating and just getting rid of stuff. And then somebody came up on a heat press, a vinyl cutter, and I think it was like a some kind of like computer tablet thing to run the cutter, which was dope. And I think they got off of OfferUp or maybe Facebook Marketplace. But I thought that was a good, like a little pretty good come up. You know what I mean? How much are you selling each T-shirt for? I'm in Wisconsin trying to sell them for 35, 40. I'm selling them from like 30 to 40 bucks. It depends. If somebody comes to me for like a custom shirt, it's usually like 30 to $40. The retail stuff in my store is like 25 to $30. So I'm within that range. Um, but yeah, here in Los Angeles, that's kind of like the going rate is for the custom stuff. It's because I'm knocking them out pretty fast because I have the white toner printer. So I'm doing them, same day, if not the next day. So those people are paying 40 bucks for those shirts. Um, and it's pretty easy because I just have a bunch of these designs kind of like locked away, and all I'm doing is just switching out colors, switching out flags. Sometimes it's a little bit of text, but it's pretty easy to do. So I've been like really banging those away. But I'm around the 30, 40 range for my custom shirts. Then remember, some presses will drop temp after you rapidly print like 6 shirts in a row, and then they have catch up. So use your laser. Yep, that's exactly it. It's like it'll always fluctuate throughout pressing and what you're doing, or if it's sitting or whatever it is. It's just how heat presses work. Can't wait to start filming and upload on the internet. Yeah, start recording and just start like getting after it, man. Like I was talking to somebody that I've been kind of consulting with when it comes to social media. they're not brand new to social media. They're a consumer of social media, but not a contributor. Like they don't create content right now, but they want to start doing it for their business. And we're kind of going back and forth on how to get comfortable with doing it, like just pressing record and recording what you're doing and stuff like that. So they were trying to urge me into like writing an ebook about creating content. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but they were like kind of gassing me up on it. But kind of what I was telling them to do is just use your stories. So like if you have Snapchat, or if you have TikTok or Instagram, you have that little story thing where you could like post little 15-second clips and they're only there for 24 hours. I was urging them to just record for stories. So then you could get used to like it's almost like if you're like figuring out how to like record clips and then seeing what the reaction would be like to those clips, is utilizing stories. And it's like kind of quick bite-sized content that you could like just get used to recording yourself from your phone and just post it real quick, and then you kind of get the nerves out the way. It helps you just get comfortable in front of the camera. It kind of just helps you start to figure out what looks good and what doesn't look good. And then when you start creating stuff for your timeline, like reels and TikToks and stuff like that, you have a better idea and you're a little bit more comfortable and you're a little bit more kind of understanding what needs to be done and what needs to be shown and what needs to be said, how you want to do it, how you want to overlay music and all of that good stuff. But utilize your stories first just to get comfortable doing it and then start posting. Hopefully that helps you out. I just don't know what kind of Teflon sheets I need for it. Just did a cleaning and want to pick up some new sheets. I mean, I use everything from the non-stick covers that Heat Press Nation offers. They fit like bed sheets around it. To the cheap Amazon ones where you get like three for like $6 and I just hang it up with magnets. I only use those Teflon sheets to buffer out static. It's not for scorching shirts. It's not for anything else. Only use it to buffer out the static. And when I say buffer out the static, I mean film transfers with, if your workspace has a lot of humidity in there, it's going to create static where the film is going to get stuck to the top of the heat press when you're pressing. So I use the Teflon sheets or the non-stick covers to buffer that out so that way the film doesn't get stuck to the top. It's not melted on, it gets stuck due to static, and then you got to scrape it off. But then it could also mess up you releasing the transfer correctly. It's a pain in the ass to do. So that's why I use them. Like when I do paper transfers, like plastisol transfers or screen printed transfers that are on paper, I don't use Teflon at all. Like I take it off and I just basically press as normal. But then whenever I use film transfers, I use a lot of Supercolor, and those are screen printed on the film. That film creates a lot of static. If I'm doing DTF, if I'm doing a lot of DTF, that film gets stuck to to the top of the platen. So that's all I use it for. I use Teflon on the top. Like I said, I use it to buffer out static. It's basically acting as a barrier in between the top of the heat press, like the hot part, the platen, and then I put the Teflon there and then transfer t-shirt. So then that way it's just acting as a buffer. It's just there to block any type of static that's going to be generated from the humidity in my room. That's all I use it for. I don't put them on the bottom, I just put them on the top. I see people with them on the bottom. I don't know what that does, or I don't know if that helps you pressing. I would feel like it's all slippery and your shirt would be sliding around. So I don't do it that way. Let me see. My brand Columbus Apparel set up at its first event last week. Loved every minute of it. Booth presentation needs some work. Reached out to the homie Diz to get my hands on his vendor booth book. Oh, hell yeah. One, you're doing yourself a service by hitting up Diz for some vendor info. He has a dope book on it. But two, it's dope to know what worked and what didn't work. Always take those takeaways and reassess everything after the show's done. Like, like, oh, I could have put the shirts here, or I could have did the hats here, or I could have set the tables up like this. No show's going to be the same. They're all going to be different. So you kind of have to just roll with the punches. But knowing what worked and what didn't work always helps you get better and better and better. Like I always have a running list in my phone on what worked, what didn't work, what we should do next time. Yeah, I'm already thinking, even if the show's not till next year, I'm already like figuring things out. Like, oh, this was bad. This setup was bad because there was a tree hanging. So if there's a tree, we got to bring rakes and like there's a ton of stuff that goes through your head, but understanding that is really good. So shout out to doing your first show and then just understanding how vending works and stuff like that. But presentation, that's it's a big part of how you set your booth up and then how it's gonna flow and how do you get customers to look at your shit. It's all about keeping things eye level. It's about like making things interesting and interactive, but mainly showcasing all your shit, like what you're trying to sell. How's the market for t-shirts these days? Saw a big slowdown last few years. Wondering if you see the same. Hell no. I've been seeing an uptick in t-shirts like crazy. I have a retail store where I sell t-shirts out of, and the store's only been tracking up. As far as like doing custom shirts, I've been talking about this a lot through having the World Cup here. Custom shirts been booming like crazy. I've been running that white toner printer ragged because I just been knocking down different country World Cup t-shirts since the World Cup started, especially for all of the watch parties that go on here in Los Angeles. I was just explaining that tomorrow Mexico plays. I'm in Los Angeles, a big, huge Mexican fan base. I went to the mall over the weekend. All Mexico jerseys sold out. All USA jerseys sold out. So I know the fans are buying stuff to wear to these watch parties. So it makes me know that my T-shirts would sell by just doing a little bit of homework on seeing what's moving in the stores, what people can't get. So I know people are buying stuff to go to these watch parties. That's where I come in with my T-shirts, selling these things up. I was saying earlier that one of my homies that makes T-shirts out of San Pedro, he went to a watch party, wore one of his T-shirts just to show it off, and then he got a good response. He banged out a bunch of DTF transfers, knocked them down on some T-shirts. Then the following Mexico game that was in San Pedro, the watch party was in San Pedro. He brought the T-shirts there in a backpack and was selling them right off out the backpack, just like he was wearing one. People were like, yo, that shit's dope. The design was just like a ripped, like a claw ripped his T-shirt, and there's a Mexico flag underneath. People were buying the shit up. So there's so much money being made right now in T-shirts. You have to think like there's some people that only think about t-shirts based off of brand, like a clothing brand and stuff like that. And then there's people selling custom t-shirts. There's people that are just in the niche space that are only selling not anything branded, but just their own designs on t-shirts. You got to figure there's billions of people on this earth and every single person owns t-shirts. I don't care if you wear a suit every day for work. You still have t-shirts in your drawer or in your closet. You're going to the gym in t-shirts, you're washing the car in t-shirts, when you're chilling you're in t-shirts, when you're mowing the lawn you're in t-shirts. Everybody that owns t-shirts is a customer. You know what I mean? So it's never going to be a dip. Everybody always thinks, oh, it's so saturated or you can't make no money. It's saturated when everybody's making the same exact designs. But if you can make designs that nobody else is making or things that are relatable to the end user, nothing's saturated because at that point it's a free for all. You know what I mean? And when people know how to ride their lane and just kind of like cruise at their own speed, that's when people see the most success. But when people are rushing into other people's lanes, trying to do what everybody else is doing, that's when you start to see, oh, this looks saturated because there's so many people doing the same exact thing. It's like this World Cup thing. You could just make a t-shirt that says Mexico and it'll sell. You could make a t-shirt that says Croatia or Germany or whatever it is and it'll sell. It you don't have to like reinvent the wheel here. It's just basically knowing who your audience is and who you're selling to and getting your products into their faces. That's basically it. You know what I mean? And as long as I've been in t-shirts, I've been selling t-shirts since the mid 90s and I've always had good years of selling t-shirts. It's just always knowing who I'm selling to. That's basically what it comes down to. There's like no other way of like explaining that. It's just knowing your audience, creating something for your audience, and feeding them exactly what they want. And it's with this World Cup, shit's fishing with dynamite, man. It's the easiest thing to do right now. If I didn't have a day job and I didn't have shit going on and I wasn't busy, I would make, let's say, 60 t-shirts in size large, extra large, double X, and a few 3Xs. I would throw them in a duffel bag. I'd wear one and I'd go to every watch party. Whoever the dominant team is for that watch party is where I'm going to go, and I'm going to be selling these t-shirts. And then I'd pick another. The World Cup, they play like 4 to 6 games a day, and there's watch parties happening all over. Like here in Los Angeles, they're playing at SoFi. It's hard to get around SoFi right now because it's just pandemonium out there. So you're not going to be able to sell stuff outside to people going to the games. But there's so many watch parties around. Like I said, Venice Beach, Santa Monica, San Pedro, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa, the Coliseum next to BMO Stadium. I even think Dignity Health Center is doing watch parties. Those are where you're going to be making a ton of money. And you just bring a duffel bag full of t-shirts. Like I used to do this shit outside of Staples Center at Laker games. So it's nothing to fill up a duffel bag with 60 t-shirts to go sell. But some people don't want to do that kind of work. You know what I mean? I would love to do it now. If I had the time, I'd be killed. Like I'd be on the Mexico t-shirts like crazy. I'd probably be doing more than just black t-shirts. I'd probably be doing a lot of green t-shirts with red and white print. But right now I'm just doing a bunch of black t-shirts with green, white, and red, and with different sayings, the flag, the colors, stuff like that, and just kind of like making easy fucking money right now, man. We did some Korea shirts. We did a few Japan shirts in blue. Yeah, that shit is just, it's a free for all right now, man. Free for all. So if you're in the t-shirt space, man, I highly recommend everybody to jump in and get some of this money, man. You don't put a texture sheet on? No, I don't do the texture sheet. Um, I just do Teflon sheets. Is there a cover that goes on the bottom to cover the pad? Yeah, you could buy base covers. I use the one that feels like a t-shirt. It's black. There's some that are made out of denim. They make all kind of different ones. I use the one that feels like a t-shirt. Love your content. Have you ever done an event and press shirts on site? If so, how was it? And do you have any tips? I started my business back in March, looking to do something different. I have did that. I don't do it anymore. One of the homies, the mobile print shop, he does it. He's good at it. He's dope at it. When I did it at like kids soccer games, basketball games, and stuff like that. And my target audience was the grandmas and the parents that are coming to watch the kids. So what I would do is I would put the kid's name and the kid's number onto these t-shirts for the adults. So I'm not selling to the kids. I'm at a kids event, but I'm selling to the adults so they can cheer on, fucking their grandson Scotty, who's number 9 on whatever team. So say if his team colors is blue and white, I'm gonna take a royal blue t-shirt with white and I'm gonna put Go Scott, number 9. I'm gonna do and this is all with vinyl, and then I'll do what was the other popular one for the soccer games? It was always like, my grandson's number whatever. Easy shit like that used to work all day long. But like pressing like designs and stuff that I created like at an event, like I haven't did that in a long ass time. The reason I stopped doing it is because a lot of the events I was going to didn't have electrical outlet access, and some places don't allow you to have a generator. So that would cripple my business if I was trying to do something like that and I was banking on that money and then I wasn't able to like plug in anywhere. So I stopped. But yeah, that it's a good way to make money as long as you have an electrical outlet that doesn't have food vendors plugged into the same outlet. Because anything with a microwave or air fryer or anything that generates heat on the same circuit as the heat press is going to blow the circuit. So you got to be you got to be careful for that too. Yeah, should you have a top cover, bottom cover, and cover the transfer when you're printing also? Man, I use the base cover because that's what comes with the Heat Press Nation presses. and then I use a Teflon sheet to buffer out the static. That's about it. Like I don't care about the covers. If I didn't have that base cover, I just lay it on the rubber. That doesn't bother me. Um, yeah, the Teflon covers only to buffer out static. That's all I use it for. If your room that you're pressing in, like if you've never had a film transfer, a DTF transfer get stuck to the top, then you have no static in there. So you don't even need fucking covers at that point. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, that's all I use it for is because where I'm pressing generates a ton of static with film transfers only. So I use the Teflon sheets to buffer out static only. Is it needed? No. I just hate when the top of the transfer gets stuck to the top of the press. That's it. When you're done using your heat press, do you unplug it? In my shop, no. I don't unplug it. I turn them off, but I don't unplug them. I use it's called an ISO bar. Um, it's made by Triplite, Triplite. Um, the only reason I use that power strip is because years ago, there was an IT guy at my job that I was talking to who was managing a big server room during the Y2K. And all of their servers were plugged into these Triplite ISO bars. So if that server room, if they trusted that little surge protector for all these servers during the Y2K. If you remember Y2K, everybody's like, computers gonna blow up, like shit's gonna be mayhem. If they trusted this big company server room on these Triplite ISO bars, I figured they're gonna be good for my heat presses. So that's why I use them. Have I ever blew a circuit or anything? No. I'm hoping it never comes down to that. But yeah, those are the ones I use. You can buy them on Amazon. They're pretty expensive, but Trip Light ISO bar is the surge protector I plug my presses in. How many teas have you sold throughout your career? Hundreds of thousands, man. Hundreds of thousands. As long as I've been doing this shit since the 90s, hell yeah. There's years where I'm doing numbers. I'm doing numbers when it comes to selling t-shirts, man. I'm interested in the X Tool DTF printer. What do you think about that one? I don't like it. The only reason I don't like at home DTF printers is there's a ton of maintenance involved with at home DTF printer, any DTF printer for that matter. But any printer of that size comes with a lot of maintenance. And I'll tell you why. Anytime you use the white ink in DTG, DTF, it's the same white inks. It clogs the print heads. And when your print head goes down, your whole printer's down. You're not printing nothing. And then you have to replace that print head. Replacing that print head means you have to bleed the lines because there's tubes that go into the print head that feed ink into the print head. In order to replace that print head, you have to bleed the line, means you have to get all the ink out of the line so you can unplug it out of the print head to replace the print head. Here's the issue. Those print heads, fairly cheap outside of DTF. They're like $70 to $90. But then in the DTF world, the DTF companies charge thousands of dollars for the print head. If not 1,000, I'll say like 800 bucks on the cheaper end for an Epson print head. That's all it is. It's the Epson print head. Back when I was doing DTF and DTG, it was the Epson 1000, I believe. That was the print head everybody was using in all of their DTG printers, DTF printers. Never failed. White ink closet. You could do your maintenance every single day. You could run the machine every single day, but you will run into a clogged print head. There's no way around it. It's what's in that white ink that clogs the print heads. Until a company can make an ink that can flow through those print heads without clogging it, then I'll never buy another DTF printer ever again. It's just what it is. So when I see the X Tool printer and stuff like that, it's made for home creators and it's made for people to print from home. When I see that, they're not telling them about the maintenance that comes with it. or what needs to be done to those machines and how to maintain it. And then you have to look into how much of those print heads cost to replace them. And are people buying up all the print heads and hoarding them because they know they're going to go out? So another home creator can't even buy one when their printer goes down. And then bingo, now your expensive printer doesn't work at all because you can't find a print head anymore. It was so bad. And the reason I say all this is because this is the same thing that happened to DTG years ago. We had DTG printers, everybody was getting into DTG, and then people started to hoard the print heads. And then you had these bigger companies buying all the print heads up, so then they could upcharge you. Like I said, they were only $70, and then people were, selling them for like 1,100 bucks at that point because they know everybody needed them. So that's why they were like selling them for $1,100, and people would have to fork over that money just so they could get their printer up and running. It was to the point where me and my partner were buying up the Epson printer that those print heads came in. We're buying refurbished printers and we're breaking the print heads out ourselves. So we'd buy the refurbished printer for like 90 bucks, and then we're just using it for the print head. Throw everything else away. We only rip out the print head, and that's all we're going to use. So it's to the point where we're stacking up refurbished printers just for the print heads because we knew the print heads were going to go out. So when it comes to DTF from home, go on OfferUp right now. Type in DTF printers and see how many pop up. Type in DTG printers and see how many pop up. It's because people can't keep up with the maintenance on those printers. It's very, very hard to do. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you're going to get into printing from home, know what you're going to use it for. Like, if you're getting that printer to print transfers for other people, it's a slow printer. You're not going to spit out a lot of volume with that thing. So you're not going to make a ton of money selling transfers for other people. But if you're getting it to print for yourself, you have to be able to move volume on that thing to keep that printer running all the time. So then that way, all the lines stay nice and juiced down. The moment those lines start to cake up with ink is when everything starts to get clogged up, and then it's a disaster. So if you're buying a printer just to print for yourself and you're not doing volume, I would say look into a white toner printer instead of a at-home DTF printer. No maintenance, and you could basically turn it off, turn it on, print, turn it back off. You could do whatever the fuck you want without having to maintain the machine the way you would have to uh DTF printer. And then on top of that, the ink cartridges, they let you yield hundreds of prints before you have to replace any ink cartridge in that thing because it's toner and it's not ink. Toner is powder, ink, like in a bladder or for DTF, is a liquid. So less mess, all of that stuff. So just weigh out the pros and cons of that kind of stuff. Take it from somebody that owned DTG, DTF, and I own a white toner now. White toner is where it's at for myself. I got rid of DTF and DTG to do custom shirts with the white toner because of no maintenance, no expensive replacement parts. It's just less headache. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not trying to talk you off the ledge, or I'm not trying to be like, no, don't get, if you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. You know what I mean? But for myself, at home DTF isn't what people think it is. You know what I mean? Like commercial size DTF, I get it. Like they make everything for that kind of shit, man. I seen that big ass Epson where it holds the ink bladder and it comes with a thing that just keeps the inks moving this way so the inks never clog up. It's like little shit like that that's made for the commercial machines that aren't made for the at-home machines. So if you're gonna sit there and massage your ink bags all day long, that's up to you. But I'll tell you right now, shit's messy. Shit is gonna make you cuss a whole lot because things are gonna go bad all the time. And I'm not even talking about misfeeding the film. I'm not even talking about like I'm not even talking about printing it. I'm just talking about the print heads messing up, like the maintenance for that. But the actual printing and feeding it through and getting it to feed correctly. And then it looks like the Xtool printer, their film has holes on the side because it might feed off of a wheel. So that might be a proprietary film. So there might be an upcharge for that where you can't use aftermarket film. You have to use the Xtool film to feed through. I don't know, just seems like it will be a very expensive uh learning experience for yourself. What do you think of Magic Seal? I haven't tried that spray stuff. I have tried the paper, like the sheet that you put on, like they call it a top seal. I've tried that, and that's worked. I haven't used the spray though. Oaks Custom, what's happening? Talk about generators. Let's see, I'm in New England. I haven't seen any watch parties. Damn, they don't got none going on in New England. I know they got them in New Jersey because that's where the games are at. Um, Maybe it's around the cities that are hosting the games. Maybe New York and New Jersey. I know they got them going on over there. Atlanta, Philadelphia, Seattle. I'm trying to think what other states. I know Canada's doing them. Mexico's doing them. Yeah. Let me see. Baseball's still going on. Yeah, baseball's still going on. I have many baseball designs. Bang out them baseball designs. Get it going. What's a good place for hat patches to press? Like custom hat patches, or you're just trying to buy like some ready-made patches to slam on hats? If you're just trying to buy like ready-made ones, you could go on Etsy and find people that make cool patches and buy them from there. If you're looking for custom ones, Deco Press is a cool place to buy from. I think Transfer Express offers patches now. Or you can order them overseas and get like 5,000 of them made for pretty cheap. Technology has evolved. My DTF machine runs every hour, so the white ink doesn't clog. Yeah, but not everybody has the luxury of running that shit every hour. You know what I mean? Like people that are printing transfers for themselves are only printing once a day. So what are they doing for like the other 23 hours out the day? You know what I mean? Like that's the part that a lot of people don't understand is if you're running volume, like I said, commercial printers, you're running volume because you're selling transfers for other people. It's moving, it's going. But if you're printing for yourself and you have a small at home printer and you have a day job also, that printer's not running. So if you're not controlling the humidity in that room, your lines are going to get clogged. And that's where the shit gets fucked up. And that's what I'm trying to tell people is like, if you have to be realistic with yourself, yeah, everybody wants to sell a shitload of shirts, a shitload of transfers. That's the goal. But when you're first starting out, if your volume isn't that, you're gonna have a hard go. Like it's gonna be a uphill battle because you're gonna be digging yourself out the hole. That printer's gonna put you in the hole, regardless. You're gonna spend a ton of money on that thing. So you're always gonna have to make that payment. But at the same exact time, if you're not making money with that machine, you're just going to be spending your own savings or the money you make from your day job to pay off this printer. And if you're not running it the way you would hope to be running it, then that thing is going to crap out. That's just how the shit works. And even if you run the shit daily, like when I had DTG printers, we ran that bitch daily, 10 hours a day. We was running, they still get clogged up. Shit just happens. You know what I mean? Let me see my large format DTF. Yeah, see, there you go. Large format DTF, another commercial printer. It's all about volume. You have to be able to you have to be able to keep up with the volume to keep your machine running. Doesn't powder clog up? Powder doesn't clog up. Powder doesn't. The toner doesn't. When it's inside the drum, that's when it starts to roll out to get put onto the fuser, and then the fuser is what ends up kissing the transfer and putting your transfer on there. So as long as you have good drums, like I used to work in a reprographic shop, and that's how I know about toner. But I also used to do offset printing too, and that's how I know about just printing in general. Um, but toner, no. Like, what printer brand for a white toner? From my understanding, there was only two on the market that had white toner printers. I have the Uninet iColor printer, um, and shit works for me. Time to make an Amazon order. Hell yeah. Uh, like a sublimation printer? What do you mean, like a sublimation printer? Is screen printing the highest quality way to print on a t-shirt? It depends on what you consider high quality, is what it comes down to. You know, what is high quality to you? Is it print clarity? Because if it's print clarity, screen printing is not going to be it. Um, are you looking for like feel on a t-shirt? Are you looking for like I need to know what you consider high quality. We might have two different ideas on what quality is. That's why. Let me see. Rick A. Martinez, what's happening? Brando, can you talk a little more about the difference between 3D embroidery for caps, 3D puff? 3D puff and 3D is the same exact thing. It just all depends on foam thickness, on what you want. You could do 1 millimeter, you could go up to 7 if you wanted to. It just depends on what you want it to look like. Um, for me, I use 3 millimeter. To me, that looks best. Some people like it to be like way more puffed up. There's nothing wrong with that. For myself, I don't like the way that looks. I don't buy my hats like that. And let me see. This is an undefeated Dodger hat, right? This is 3 millimeter foam under here. It's not puffed up, but it's puffed up just enough, right? There's some people that use 5 millimeter foam where it's like really, really puffy. There's nothing wrong with that too. The shit, if that's the look you're going for, then that's how you do your embroidery. You use 5 millimeter foam. Like I said, I seen people use 7 millimeter. Um, it just all depends on what type of look you're going for. I use 3 millimeter. To me, that fits the best or looks the best, I guess, in my opinion. But like I said, everybody has a different opinion on what the best is or what quality is or what it's supposed to look like. I'm just going off of personal preference. I like 3 millimeters, so that's what I use. There's also different densities of foam. There's some that are like really dense and really have no give to them. And then there's some that are a little bit more forgiving and a little bit more softer. There's also some that, dirty up your machine because it spits off a ton of little dust that comes off of the foam. So that stuff is just like you have to kind of play around and figure out what you want. Um, but when it comes down to just doing puff embroidery or 3D embroidery, I like 3 millimeter. That's what I do all my hats on. I tried 5. It wasn't for me. I didn't like the look of it. I never went to 7. But I also have like 1 and 2 millimeter foam if I want to do like some small text or some side hits that have a little bit of 3D puff to it, but not much. Pheno's finest, what's happening? Mostly long lasting. Yeah, if you're looking for long lasting, screen printing, transfers, it's all going to be based on who's doing it and who's curing the ink correctly. Um, I have super color transfer t-shirts that lasted over 75 plus washes. I have screen printed t-shirts that I bought directly from Stussy that only lasted 3 washes that were screen printed. You know what I mean? So it all depends on who's curing the ink and doing the printing. So I don't think there's a better of the two. It's more about just like screen printing would be for mass production. In my opinion, this is how it works. Screen printing for like mass production. If you're doing high volume, high numbers, you could bang out more t-shirts screen printed than you can using transfers. Because transfers, it's going to take 15 seconds to press down, and then you have to do the back, and then it's going to take another 15 seconds. When it comes to screen printing, it's automated. So the machine's doing it for you. All you're doing is loading the t-shirts up and it's coming through and it's swiping the ink, it's doing everything for you. But once again, that's in high production. It's going to be based on volume. If I'm just going to do 12 t-shirts, it's way more labor intensive to do 12 t-shirts screen printed than it is to do on a heat press with transfers. Same thing when it comes to colors. If the design is going to be a single color, screen printing is easy to do. If the design is going to be 8 colors, 8 spot colors, transfers is going to be cheaper to do because if you're going to pay for 8 screens for that design, you're looking at damn near $200 just in screen fees if their screen fees are $25. And that's not even including printing. That's just setting it up. That's just setting the screens up for the colors. So when you think about that versus doing something like DTF, which is CMYK printing on transfers, where you could do unlimited colors, it's going to be cheaper to go the DTF route. You know what I mean? So it all comes down to like what the job entails. If you want to get stuff screen printed, get it screen printed. If you want to do screen printing for yourself, learn to screen print. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. What I know, because I used to screen print, is screen printing is messy, it's labor intensive, and you need space to do it. You can't just do it out of your bedroom. I've done it out of my bedroom, and that shit is not doable. You need somewhere to store the screens, burn the screens, wash the screens. You need somewhere to store inks. You need somewhere to cure the t-shirts. Like, that's a ton of shit that just needs to be done in order to successfully do one t-shirt. Because you can't burn a screen or like with the sun out or under fluorescent lights or regular light bulb. You need to do it in a dark room or somewhere with a yellow light bulb. So unless you're going to be changing out the light bulb in your room and then blacking out your windows just to burn some screens, because emulsion is light sensitive. So that emulsion, if it hits regular light, it's going to start to harden already. So you don't want that. So you want to be able to do it in a dark room with, like, you have to coat the emulsion first and let it dry. And then you have to burn the actual design. And then before that, you have to burn the negative. I mean, you have to print the negative onto acetate or vellum or whatever you're using, which is a clear paper, to burn it on there and register it up and get that good. So you need somewhere to burn the screen, coat the screens. You're going to need somewhere to do the actual printing when you're ready to print. Then you're going to need somewhere to um, cure the ink onto the t-shirts. So some people use heat presses, some people use conveyor belt dryers, the thing that looks like a little pizza oven. That's not going to fit in your bedroom. You're going to have to put that somewhere also, and that sucker's going to have to be plugged up to a 220 because it's creating so much heat. Some people try to use a heat gun, but you're not going to cure the ink correctly if you're looking for long lasting prints. You're not going to be able to give out long lasting prints with a heat gun because you can't dial in the temperature on a heat gun. The ink has to be cured at a certain temperature for it to actually adhere to the t-shirt and outlive the t-shirt. You over cure something, it's going to crack because it's going to turn the ink brittle. If you under cure something, it's going to chip off because it's not going to adhere to the t-shirt. So being able to cure something correctly is how you're going to get something that's long lasting, if that's what you're looking for. So if you're not prepared to do it yourself, you would have to find a screen print shop that can do that. Screen print shops are going to charge you minimums, meaning you're going to have to, get 36 t-shirts or 48 t-shirts done or 72, depending on the shop. Now you're going to have pre-printed t-shirts. Those pre-printed t-shirts means you're going to have to pick what sizes you want printed because you're going to have to now sell these t-shirts. And most people, everybody falls into this trap. They're like, oh, let me get a dozen small, dozen medium, dozen large, dozen extra large, dozen 2X, a dozen 3X. When you do that, now you are forced to sell those t-shirts because they're already printed and you already picked the sizes that they're printed on, sizes and color that they're printed on. But what if nobody buys the smalls and mediums? Now you have a dozen smalls and a dozen mediums just sitting in a shelf in your workspace or in a tote or in a crate or in a bucket that are just taking up very valuable space in your workplace. I don't know if you know what a dozen t-shirts folded up looks like, but if you can store a shitload of t-shirts, good for you. Most people that are operating out of the home, space is very, very valuable. So that's why I never recommend people to do that and get their stuff, unless you're like moving units, like unless your t-shirts are booming and they're moving, you have no problems. But if you're just starting out, you never know what's going to move because you haven't tested anything out yet. You know what I mean? You're getting everything printed and then you're going to do your marketing once the t-shirts are printed. So if nobody buys the shirts, you wasted all that money getting them printed. I always recommend people to go the transfer route because you control your inventory that way. When I say control your inventory, I'm talking about you don't print nothing until you sell something. You could press one t-shirt for yourself, wear it around, do all your marketing with it, And then as orders come in, you take the blank shirt from here, you take the transfer from here, you press it down, and you ship it off to the paying customer. So you never waste t-shirts and you never waste your time on some dumb shit. And that's why I switched from screen printing to using transfers. Like I said, I learned everything about the t-shirt business through screen printing. I used to screen print in the 90s. That's how I learned how to create shirts, how to sell them, and all that shit. I stopped all that because I was like, man, I'm putting in all this labor for like a little bit amount of money. I need to be able to like focus more on marketing. I need to focus more on how to make these sales. I need to like get my ass out the garage and not have to just sit here and screen print a bunch of shit that's not selling. So I started getting into transfers. And when I got into transfers, it allowed me to do more marketing, more customer research, more understanding how the customers work. So I could create stuff that actually sells. And then I'm controlling my inventory. I'm not wasting t-shirts no more. I don't just have racks of pre-printed shirts not moving. Everything that I'm doing is because it's actually moving. If that makes sense. I hope this cleared some stuff up for you. I know that was a very, very long answer, and you probably tuned out and you're like, man, I don't want to hear this shit. I'm just gonna get my shit screen printed. Cool. But I'm telling you, man, like from experience, if you're just starting out getting your stuff screen printed, you might be thinking, like, yeah, that's the best quality, that's what I need to do, blah, blah, blah. And that's cool. But if you ain't moving units, you're gonna be sitting on a bunch of pre-printed t-shirts for a long ass time that you can't sell. You're gonna end up liquidating them or trying to sell them for like $5 each just to make your money back. And at that point, who wants to buy stuff from a clothing brand that's selling shit for $5? It's just going to devalue your company out the gate. You know what I mean? So I hope you take that advice or you hear it and just understand the ups and the downs when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Is the Epson ET8500 printer okay for full color stickers? Then cut them with the Cameo Alpha cutter. I have no idea what that printer is, and I have no idea about sticker printing. So, if that's your options, like if you have those two pieces of equipment, I say try it out and go for it, man. If you already have a cutter and that's the printer you're going to use, fucking go for it. Can you use 3 millimeter and 5 millimeter on the same cap to create a different effect? Yeah, you probably can. You just have to tell the machine when to stop so you can lay down the other piece of foam or whatever. I've never did anything like that. It seems pretty labor intensive, but yeah, if you want to go for it, man, try that shit out. Oh, white ink for the white toner printers. White toner isn't like sublimation. White toner is uh powdered inks, white CMY no K, um, onto film, that's infused through the like a laser printer, basically. What's your go-to company for foam? Amazon. I just go on Amazon, type in 3 millimeter embroidery foam or 3 millimeter craft foam, and I buy whatever's on sale and whatever color I need. I'm not too picky. There's people that are picky for like the really dense stuff, but that's pretty expensive. I don't need the expensive foam. I just use like whatever I could get on Amazon. I want to learn how to do my own prints. Yeah, man, just start creating your own designs and you get yourself a printer, white toner, start printing from home. That's all I do. Just recently came across your channel and just getting started. Keep up the great work. Question: how do you determine length and width for sleeve lettering? You take your sleeve, like if you're doing like long sleeves or something like that, whatever shirt you're printing on, take it and then you measure it. So, like, let's say it says like 6 inches. You got to remember the shirt's going to look different when it's worn on a body versus flat on a bed. So, take the measurement when it's flat and then have somebody wear the shirt so you see what it looks like around somebody's arms. And then you measure the center of their arm. And then that way you'll know what it'll look like. Take some tape. Blue painter's tape works perfect. That's what I use. I get the 1 inch blue painter's tape and then I just mark off like a little box on the arm or on the chest or on the back. This works for anything for placement. And then you measure what the tape looks like if you did a box on the arm, like a long ass rectangle going down the sleeve, you measure that shit. And then you'll have a better idea on what size to make your prints. Everything there's no standard size for anything, for neck labels, for chest hits, for left chest, for yoke prints, for sleeve prints, any of that. There's no set design size. Everything is based visually on what you think looks good and what doesn't look good. So the best way to figure that part out, like I said, measure the t-shirt so you know with dimensions of the actual t-shirt, and then put the t-shirt on a person's body, and then put some tape on that thing, on where you want the design to land, all that good stuff. Take a ruler or a measuring tape and you measure those dimensions and design to those dimensions. You'll be good to go. That to me is, instead of like going based off, all right, this person used like 2-inch lettering on the sleeve, I'm going to do that. And then you get some transfers made with 2-inch lettering, like, man, that shit looks too small. And that's because that person might have been using a different t-shirt, or they might have had a different look to their design that's different than yours. So it's always best to do your own, like, when you're looking for size dimensions, man, I'll use myself and I'll stand in the mirror and tape my shit off. I have videos showing this process. And then, or I'll have like my son or my brother or somebody else wear the t-shirt, and then I'll tape that thing down and I'll measure it just so I get an understanding on what I want it to look like on the body, because it's going to look different flat on a bed versus on the body. Back in the day, we used to do 3D embroider with 7mm and 3mm on top of it. The digitizing was hell, though. Talk about stacking to the sky. Yeah, that to me is extremely 3D puff. Not the look I'm going for, you know what I mean? But everybody has a preference. What's your least favorite part of the business? For me, some of these customers annoy the shit out of me. Customer interaction is difficult, man. It's because this is how I try to make it work for myself. I hope this could help you out. The customers don't know the ins and outs of what we do, right? They only think of, I want this design on this t-shirt, and then that's it. They don't know the different types of t-shirts there are, the different types of print methods there are, design concepts on what looks good, what doesn't look good, stuff like that. So usually this is how I try to do it, is I try to take the guesswork out of it for the customer. So the customer comes to me and they word vomit a bunch of shit that they want. And then I tell them what I can do. This is where you have to be pretty confident in what you're offering. But at the same exact time, this is where you set the boundaries on what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. So every consultation I have with the customer goes like this. All right. They come to me, or they hit me on email, or they call me, or whatever it is. And they say, hey, I'm having a family reunion. I want the t-shirt to be purple, and I want the print to be white and baby blue or something, right? And then they'll be like, I want the front to say Johnson Family Reunion 2026. And on the back, I want it to say Johnson Family Reunion 2026 with a picture of my grandma on a rocking chair because she just passed away and we're all having this thing for her. And then I want all the grandkids' names to be all over it around the rocking chair. That's a lot, right? It could be done, but it's going to look stupid. Not because of her grandma, but because of what she's thinking. She just wants a lot of things on there. So your job is to make it look visually appealing, right? So that's where you talk her off the ledge and you're like, all right, check it out. We could do this. We could make it say Johnson Family Reunion. We could put a picture of your grandma's head at the top of Johnson Family Reunion with a little halo around it. We could put some doves coming off the back with some clouds. And then underneath that, we could list everybody's name. It's going to look better. This is what it'll look like. Boom, boom, boom. You do a quick little mock up. Bingo. You send it to her and you show her. Purple shirt, white print, baby blue, whatever year or whatever she wanted. She's going to be bummed that her fucking rocking chair ain't in that shit. And she wanted the kids' names to be around the grandma because of this. And you tell her, this is what I could do for you. If not, you could go somewhere else. But I think it'll visually look better this way right here. I could have this done for you in 2 weeks, right before your family reunion. And I'm only going to be able to give you a few revisions of this design right here through email. And you let me know which one you want to go with. And then from there, I would do 3 different mock-ups on the layouts. Boom, boom, boom. Here's this print, left chest print. Here's a center print of Johnson Family Reunion. And then same thing on the back. I'll do a few different renditions of what I think she would like, and then I just make her pick out of those three. Every single client goes that same exact way with me. It's this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for. I need it done by this time. And my job is to make it easy as possible for them. I want to come close to what they're looking for, but a lot of times their idea isn't going to look how they think it's going to look printed on a t-shirt. You know what I mean? And at that point, I just do DTF. I'll take the actual picture of her grandma, throw it into Photoshop, put some wings behind her, some throw some clouds behind her, and then call it a day. You know what I mean? But definitely dealing with customers is a hard thing. But what I've learned over the years is the way that I talk to the customer or the way that I interact with the customer is going to determine if the customer is going to come back and work with me. It's not the t-shirts, it's not the quality of my work, it's not how fast I get it done, none of that shit. It's all based on customer service. It's on how I interact with that customer, keep them updated. Even if they're a headache of a customer, it's still being able to talk to them respectfully because like I said, I just want to take all the thinking away from the customer when I'm working with them. I want the customer to just be like, all right, I told him what I wanted. He's going to fucking do it. These look cool to me. That's all it is. Now, something that I hate about the business, me personally, is I like selling stuff. I hate doing the part of making the stuff. So like heat pressing, embroidering, stuff like that. It's time consuming and I feel like I could be doing more outside of that. I like selling stuff and I like designing stuff, but the actual like heat pressing this shit, man, if you're doing thousands of t-shirts, like man, if I forgot when we just did like a 500-piece job. Fuck, when was that? It was like I'll do 100 and I'll take a long ass break, or I'll come back the next day and do like another 100. Like I'm pitching away, or we will do these like 100-piece runs for these hats, like golf tournament hats, embroider them, and it's like sitting there watching the machine just stitch these hats up, and then I'm cleaning up hats while this one's running, and I'll do like 24, and then I'll come back the next day and do like another 20. That kind of shit. I'm just like, man, to be able to automate that stuff would be dope. But that's the part where I'm just like, I'm more into just like selling. You know what I mean? I want to be able to like sell shit, make like create designs, sell it. It's the pressing and all that stuff is the part that like starts to wear me down a little bit. It's fun. I still like doing it. Um, but when you're doing those big orders, man, that's when like that's why I don't take in too many like private clients no more and print for other people because I'd rather do my own shit. Like if I'm gonna sit here press these shirts, I want to press some shit that I could sell or press some shit that I made. Pressing for other people, there's no fun in that shit. I just feel like I'm a slave to my heat press. Like it's good for a paycheck, but I'm like, I didn't create this or I didn't do nothing for this. It's not fun. You know what I mean? So that's the part that of the business that breaks me down. But dealing with customers and stuff like that, I used to hate it. Now I kind of know how to deal with them. But that's my biggest thing is I usually try to take the guesswork out of it. So when they're just like throwing out a million ideas at you, you just take the core ideas that they give you and be like, look, this is what I could do for you. I could do this, this, and this. It'll look just like this. And then they're always gonna come back like, well, I really need this in it, and I need this. I'm like, yo, it's not gonna look cool. You know, this is what I could do for you. If it's not what you're looking for, you could go elsewhere. But it's having that confidence to be like, look, check it out. This is what I could do is what helps sell that shit. You know what I mean? Jose Jimenez, what up, Brando? Who's doing your digitizing? We got an in-house digitizer now, man. We actually pay a dude to do our digitizing for us in-house, works in our shop and digitizes all our shit for us because we have so many jobs come up. So we just throw him the file and then he digitizes it for us now. We were out like I was outsourcing on Google. I was like using a bunch of different digitizers on Google, but now we got like a one of the homies knows how to digitize and he just comes to the shop, does all our shit. We pay him, but yeah, feel the same, Douglas. I just like selling my own designs to them. Hell yeah. What's your thoughts about Flip app? I don't know nothing about that. Clothing resale platform. I know nothing about that. I've never even seen that or heard of that. What's your prices for logos? I don't design logos for anybody anymore. But if you want to know my prices, they used to be like close to like 400, 450 bucks. I would do 3 revisions for you, but I don't do them anymore. I don't have the time to do them anymore. Labor and admin, I hate. Yeah, man, I feel like everybody hates doing labor. The admin stuff, yeah, that part kind of gets a little brutal too. I like sourcing blank t-shirts. I like sourcing hats. I like looking at what's coming out, what's new, the trending shit. Even though I don't really print on a lot of the cool fashion forward trendy shit, I just like seeing what's out there. Um, but the main thing that I like doing is just like creating designs. Like for me, I just like creating my shit, getting it going. Um, and that's about it. But dealing with the customers, man, that shit gets brutal sometimes. I always say this, man. Sometimes the headache isn't worth the check. So if I could tell that the customer is going to be a pain to work with, I usually shut them down and be like, no, I'm not. I can't take your work in, or I'll try to refer them to somebody else. Um, but yeah, because there's those headache type customers that are crazy. You know what I mean? What's digitized? Digitized is the file that you send to an embroidery machine. So it's basically telling the embroidery machine how many stitches to create the logo, where you want the stitches to start, end, all that good stuff. So it's basically laying down the stitches for any embroidery job. It's called digitizing. They spit out DST files, and then that DST file gets put into your embroidery machine, and then it's about it. Do you know good places to get logos made? Nah, the one thing I would say is you need to find a graphic designer. Um, Fiverr has a ton of graphic designers, Fiverr, I think. There's graphic designers probably here in the chat right now that might be willing to take your job on. So it's more about like if you're looking for like a logo for your brand, or if you're looking for like t-shirt designs, but you're just saying logos, kind of getting the verbiage right. So then that way you know exactly what to tell the graphic designer on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a logo for your brand or your business, like a monogram logo or something like that, it's easier to tell them like this is what I'm looking for. Um, but if you're looking for like t-shirt designs, like something to print onto a t-shirt, not necessarily your business's name or something like that way they could bring your idea to life for you. Um, but when it comes to graphic designers, the pay scale is crazy. It could be like a kid that's in high school right now that'll charge you $10. That's probably dope as hell. Or it's like some dude that's been doing this shit for like 37 years and he probably charges, anywhere from like 500 to, $2,500. It all depends. It basically comes down to like what's the intended use for this logo? Is it just to print on some shirts? Or are you gonna brand your whole business around it? Because at that point, you would want more than just your logo. You would want somebody to help you create your brand's colors, like what the primary colors for your brand would be, what the secondary colors would be, typefaces, like what fonts you want your brand to be known for and use. It's things like that. Like, so think about it like the hundreds. The hundreds had their bar logo, and then they had Atom Bomb, and then they had the outline of Atom Bomb attached to the bar logo. Um, then if you looked at like Undefeated, Undefeated uses the strike up design, which is the tally marks. And then they also use a lot of like army greens, blacks, and oranges, right? That's like their company's colors that they do everything in. Um, Same thing with Stussy. Stussy uses the 8 ball. They have their regular Stussy logo. And then when it comes to monogram logos are like like the LV for Louis Vuitton, things where you would see that and it'll just be like initials created into a logo. So it's stuff like that that you have to think like this is what I want made or this is what I'm looking for. Um, So some graphic designers are just good at creating graphics. Some graphic designers are good at marketing and branding. So they'll be able to help you with stuff like that. So some graphic designers will send you, some like pretty dope lookbooks of, um, I guess it would be like a contact sheet or something that'll have like monogram logo, bar logo, the primary colors, secondary colors, and then underneath that it'll have taglines and what fonts you should be using and stuff like that. They'll lay it all out for you, so then that way your brand looks more cohesive. Then there's some graphic designers that you'll be like, yo, make me a logo. They just spit the logo out to you as a flat image, and then you just have it. So it depends on like what you want out of it, if that makes any sense. I hope that helped you out. You know what I mean? That's what I used to like look for when I used to do graphic design for people. And that's kind of how I got into like consulting for brands and businesses, was outside of just creating a logo, it was more so creating a feel for the business. You know what I mean? Um, and then being able to make things cohesive for them. So, like I said, when it comes down to like picking colors, that generate a feel. And when you think about colors, it's like McDonald's, you think red and yellow. Those are McDonald's colors, is red and yellow. Same thing with Coke, same thing with Pepsi. Like, the colors that are associated to these companies, where that stuff speaks to, like, you think of Supreme, you think of the box logo, red and white. When you think of, fuck, I don't even know, man. When you think of like Bape, you could think of Bape Camo. Like, they made their own camouflage with the ape inside the camouflage. It's stuff like that that is cohesive with the whole branding of what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? Um, so being able to tell a graphic designer that's what you're looking for, you'll have a better, like, you and the graphic designer will be able to bro down a little bit better, because they'll know exactly what you're looking for. They can bring your idea to life. So, and even it helps if you have like references on things that you are looking for, or you want something to look like, or you want to recreate a feel of something. That kind of shit helps the graphic designer too. I'm also interested in an embroidery machine. What do you suggest for someone who knows nothing about digitizing? Outsource your digitizing. Go on Google and type in digitizing services. A bunch of places will pop up that offer this service, and they charge anywhere from $10 to $30 per design. And basically, what they're doing is they're turning your design that you send them into little stitches. And those little stitches is what you're going to put into your machine. They're going to send you a PDF that says, this is the order, depending on how many colors or whatever it is, on how it's going to work out. So from there, that's how it works. But yeah, if you're just getting into it, learning the digitizing software seems pretty daunting and hard. I've never learned how to do it because I don't have the time to sit down and try to learn a new software. It's easier for me to just pay somebody else to do it for me. You know what I mean? And like I said, with Google, I've had my machine since 2020. Um, I would say 5.5 years. I just outsourced my digitizing to somebody on Google to do it for me. When's the workshop? Not sure, because we are currently revamping the store. The store's getting a little makeover, so we've been kind of busy with that. And then also we have the festivals coming up, so we're actually in festival prep mode right now. Embroidering hats, designing, printing shirts, stuff like that. Also trying to finalize booth layouts and stuff like that. So I don't think workshops happening anytime this summer. I could tell you that much. I would like to, but just no time to do it at all. Yeah, when it for the embroidery stuff, the embroidery shops that I used to go to that were local to me before I got an embroidery machine, they used to charge like $30 for digitizing. So I send them my design and they'd be like, all right, you got to pay a one-time fee for $30 to get it digitized. But I didn't know who they were sending it out to. I didn't know if they had an in-house person doing it. That was just like their rate of, or we got to get this new design digitized. And then anytime you go back to get more embroidery work with that same logo, it's already digitized in the machine. You just tell them what color thread. But paying that one time digitizing fee, it was always like a flat $30 fee until I started to see all these like businesses on Google that offer digitizing and they only charge $10. So I was like, oh damn, like all this time I've been paying 30, I've been getting upcharged for digitizing and it only costs $10 from these people. So that's when I just started doing it that way. I just been sending stuff to these places on Google to get digitized. Man, they turn the shit around in like 6 hours. Some of them do it within 24 hours, but most of them like 6 to 12 hours. The design is in your email, broken down. They'll send you a sample of what it looks like, a picture of it embroidered out, what it'll look like. So it's kind of easy to do. So yeah, just Google digitizing services. Bunch of them pop up. I tried every single one on the front page of Google. The very first page of Google, I've used all of them, and they've all worked. So you tell them what kind of machine you got. You tell them what kind of thread you plan on using. What it's going on. Is it going on like a shirt, or is it going on a hat? Is it going on a jersey, a jacket, a bag? You tell them what you're planning on stitching on, and the more information they have, the better they can lay it all out for you. Because, like I said, it'll tell the machine where to start, where to stop, how many stitches to lay down to cover the whole area, all that shit. Different colors, whatever it is. Are you going to do flat stitching with 3D at the same exact time? So it'll like lay down the flat, then it'll stop, give you a chance to put the foam down. Then it'll do a base stitch to lock the foam in place, and then it'll like go through. But it just made sense for us to just hire somebody at the shop to do it for us. So then that way we don't have to pay people on Google to do it for us anymore. All right. Anybody else got any questions, man? Hopefully this microphone didn't crap out yet. I know the battery was low. I think we did about an hour and 20 minutes. I'll stick around for like an hour 30 if anybody got more questions. Shoot them out. Let me know. For the people that are new here, I appreciate everybody that jumps onto these live streams. But for the new people, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when we live stream on YouTube. We call it T-shirt Talk on Tuesdays. Where are the festivals? In Lawndale, California in July, third week of July. So, no, third weekend of July. Saturday and Sunday, I'll be out there. It's a Hawaiian festival. It's free. There's live entertainment. There's food. There's like 200 plus vendors. It's an outdoor event at a park in Lawndale called Alondra Park. Third weekend of July. I'm there every single year. My booth is located kind of in the middle, along the fence. I usually have a 10 by 20 booth. I sell t-shirts, hats. I'm going to be selling all kind of shit this year. Yeah, come out, hang out, check it out if you wanted to. It's dope, man. Just listening, I gain a lot of knowledge. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for watching, man. That's what these live streams are for, is to try to help anybody willing to learn. I've been, now that I've been posting more white toner printer videos, there's been a lot of people like, white toner is the worst, man. I bought one and that shit failed me, and that's the worst way to run a business. And I'm like, damn, like if you couldn't figure it out, that's on you. It's not the printer's fault. It's your fault. Like, cause I'm actively using this white toner printer now to make money, and I'm having a good old time with the shit. Like, we're making an ass load of money. We're making a bunch of shirts. I'm literally showing people online how to run a business with a white toner. Like, if you just wanted to do nothing but custom shirts, white toner printer is where it's at. The best part is, if I was on Etsy, I'd be fucking killing. And I plan on getting on Etsy just because I have a good idea on how the shit works now, to do custom t-shirts and do one-offs and load up some designs and just fucking start banging away and making some extra money with that thing, man. Your white toner printer, did you say on another video that it is 13 inches? It does 11 by 17. You can also do 19 by 13 through the bypass tray, but the ones that I've used, like I only have 11 by 17 paper. That's what I feed through there. So if you wanted to do 13 inches wide, just turn your design sideways and print it out on 11 by 17, you'll be good. But if you wanted to print full, like 19 by 13, you could buy that paper and feed it through there. I use the printer I have is the iColor 650. That's the bigger one. I think the 560 is the smaller one, and 650 is the big one. That's the one that I use. Thumbs up for our brother Brando. I appreciate that. Knowledge ain't free. You know what it's all about, helping people not make the same mistakes I made. Like buying DTF printers, like you know, screen printing a shitload of stuff I couldn't sell. Like that, those are all mistakes that I made. I wasted an ass load of money on. I wasted a ton of time, ton of money on that kind of shit. So it's like it's easier to try to help somebody coming up now not make the same mistakes and actually show people, how to do this shit. You know what I mean? Because it looks easy and it does require some work, but once you get the hang of this shit and it's fun for you, you can make a ton of money doing this. You know what I mean? Since you talked about the different definitions of what someone considers quality, as far as screen printing versus white toner, what's your definition of print of a quality print? My definition of a quality print is light on a t-shirt and clarity is everything when it comes to a print. I know from screen printing, clarity isn't the best because you're still pushing screen through. You're pushing ink through a mesh screen. It's basically it. You know what I mean? So digital print's always going to be way more clear, and the clarity is always going to look way better through a digital print. Now, when it comes to screen printing versus white toner, it depends on what it is. If it's a single color print, they're both going to look the same. But then if it's a multicolor print, the white toner is going to have the advantage because it's still a digital print. You know what I mean? So it's going to look way more clear than screen printed t-shirt would be. Even if I did like a four color process screen print versus a white toner print, it's going to look the same. I mean, it's going to look, the white toner is going to look better than the screen printed t-shirt would be. And then people are going to be like, well, it's because you're not screen printing right. And you're right. It comes down to the person actually doing the printing and registration and burning the screens and just doing the actual printing of that. Um, and if you're a skilled professional screen printer, cool. I'm not. Like, I haven't screen printed since 2003, 2004 maybe was the last time I actually screen printed a t-shirt. Um, so it's been for a long ass time. So it's easier to just throw it through the white toner printer. But then I would also put like DTF up against it. I would put Supercolor up against it. I would put a ton of things up against screen printing. But when it comes to bulk printing, mass production, printing in volume, screen printing all day long. I'll choose screen printing instead of heat pressing 1,000 shirts. I'd rather screen print 1,000 t-shirts. But then if we're just talking low volume, 36 t-shirts, I could do that on a heat press all day long. Um, I wouldn't. I could still do it on screen print 36 t-shirts. I would like to do 72. I would cap my minimums. If I got back into screen printing now, I would cap my minimum at 72. Just for bang for buck, because I'm setting the print press up. Setup and cleanup is going to be the same whether I print one t-shirt or 10,000 t-shirts. So I want to make it worth it, like worth my time setting everything up to do it. So I would cap my minimums at 72 if I got back into screen printing. You're able to achieve that clarity with a white toner and still eliminate that plasticky feel. None of my white toner prints have that plastic feel. I don't know how many people have said like, "Oh, my white toner printer used to feel like plastic." Maybe it was the paper you were using or whatever. I use this paper. It's called Select. It's made by Uninet. That shit is super lightweight on the t-shirt, and it's not like opaque like To me, it feels just like a DTF print. That's what it feels like on the t-shirt. Um, like, where's that dog shirt at? I'll show this shirt. This is the very first one that I did. This dog t-shirt right here feels just like kind of like a DTG print. Look at that. This is 30. What am I at? 36. I'm well above 35 and it's starting to crack. See that? I wash this t-shirt anytime somebody's washing something in my house. I throw this t-shirt in there, I wash it and I dry it. This is about 30, I want to say 36, 37, somewhere around there. But it's barely starting to crack. This is the first time we've seen it crack. This blue over here on this side is still good. The white's cracking. Some of this down here is starting to crack. But that's after 30 something washes. Like, that's a good, way better than good enough for myself. You know what I mean? I was fine once I got 20 washes off that thing where I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, a lot of people say they're white toner prints, and maybe that's because they were using old paper. And somebody said technology evolves, and it does. The select paper that I use, that's what this was printed on. This is the very first print that I ever did with my white toner printer. The very first one. This is their stock image that comes with the printer to do a test print with. I pressed it onto this t-shirt and I've been washing it ever since. So a digitizer, so you're taking in more outside work? Hell no, we're not taking in no outside embroidery work. Digitizer is just for us. I don't know if you know this, but I have a retail store, and that's where we sell, like, we move hats out of that motherfucker like crazy. We probably have more hats than t-shirts in the store at the moment. But we're making hat designs daily, and it's a few of us doing it. So that's how we're doing it. We just bang stuff out. We just stitch up one hat. If it does good, then we produce it. We do a bunch of them and we sell them. But we're testing out hats all the time. Like, if you see my shelves where I'm at right now, it's full of hats that I've made. Um, and we're doing different logos, all kind of different shit, man. It's like the beauty of having an embroidery machine is being able to make whatever the fuck you want. That's why I like this white toner printer, because I can print whatever the fuck I want whenever I want. Like, I have the ability to create t-shirts and hats like right now if I wanted to. That shit is like the easiest thing for me now. Like, being able to, like, for me, having the retail store and being able to create products and just put them out, um, is the best thing ever, man. Like I said earlier, man, I love selling shit. That's just what I do. Use Photoshop. I downloaded GIMP and I was confused. Are there anything out there that is easy to use to correct images? Every design software is going to be the same. There's going to be a learning curve. Most people now that are getting into designing are so familiar with having like apps and shit on your phone where things could be done at a press of a button. But when you're looking at actual design software like Photoshop, it's a learning curve. Like, you're just going to be looking at a blank canvas the whole time until you understand what you're using it for. So I always tell people, if you're getting into this and you want to learn how to like use the software, pick one, dedicate yourself to one, and go on YouTube and learn everything about that thing. So if you're going to get into Photoshop, I recommend Photoshop because that's like an industry standard software. The reason that's a good thing is because there's a gazillion videos on YouTube for beginners that'll teach you how to use the software for whatever you want. If you wanted to learn how to edit photos using Photoshop, Lightroom, Camera Raw, stuff like that, there's a million videos on YouTube already for beginners. If you want to use Photoshop for design work, there's a million videos on there showing you how to become a graphic designer using Photoshop. I don't know what GIMP is. Maybe there's videos about it, but I always tell people, if you're going to learn a software, learn the industry standard, but learn at your own pace. Find somebody on YouTube that you can listen to that's teaching you exactly what you want, and just learn the tools. Go to each tool on Photoshop and find out what it is. That's how I learned how to use the pen tool. That's how I learned how to use the text tool. That's how I learned how to manipulate things. All of that is done just clicking around, trying to figure out what each thing does. That'll be the best way to get started to learn how to do it. You know what I mean? And let me see. Yeah, I forgot who was asking about uh hold on. When you're talking about screen printing, here's a screen printed t-shirt from Stussy. Look at the cracking. This is from Stussy. Here's the tag. And this cracks. And this print is way heavier than the white toner print. When it comes to me, I like a light feeling print onto my t-shirts. Look, the front's cracking too. That's a screen printed t-shirt from Stussy that they bought. I mean, that they sell and I bought with my own money, and it's cracking. Not cracking like, oh, it's dope. It's cracking like the print's cracking. And this one is 30 something washes in and it's cracking. It's not like this print feels heavier because this is straight plastisol ink. And this white toner ink right here is toner ink, plastisol ink. Plastisol is a thicker ink that screen printers use. Do you know if AS Color made a change on their tags? I noticed they have two different classic T-shirts they offer now. Only one has a removable tag, but only a few colors. Those ones, like it's black, white, bone, heather gray. Those ones all have removable tags. Some of the colored ones, some of them have removable tags, some of them don't. They have woven tags. The removable tags is a new thing that they have on there. I don't see too much like here's a this is one of their new colors, the indigo. This tag's removable too. So I think on their newer colors, tags are removable. Some of the classic colors, some are removable. I think I've gotten some that weren't when I was testing out different colors. But yeah, I think it's the ones that say removable in the classic category. All of those colors just come strictly with tags that could be ripped out. The other ones that don't like it'll be a toss up. Some of them might be tearaway, some of them might not. Um, it just depends. Because I've gotten some that I don't have any on hand right now, but yeah, I've gotten some that were like regular woven labels, and I bought this little thing. They're like curved scissors. They look like this, but they're scissors. I've been using those to snip the tags off. You could get right up underneath the hem of the where it's sewn in at and snip it, and you can't even see it. You can buy those on Amazon too. I don't even know what they're called. Like, just look up curved scissors. It'll probably pop up. I know they're made for sewing, but all right. Anybody else got any questions, man? Throw them out. I'm gonna get some standard paper from Uninet for the white toner printer to see what the difference is between the select paper, which this is. This is printed on select film versus standard film. And then I'll compare them to see what the difference is. Should I start my business with TikTok? Hell yeah. I think you should get on all social media platforms. How many super color transfers can you knock out in an hour? Got my first 300 shirt order. Super color, like plastisol transfers, I used to be able to do like 100 in an hour, front and backs. Super color, I could probably get down, man, maybe 60, maybe 50 to 60 in an hour, I think. Like I'm not rushing through them to get them done quick. It's usually, I think, standard front and backs. What ink brand did you use for DTF? That I don't even remember, man. I do not remember what inks I used to use for DTF or DTG. It's been so long. We had a whole room dedicated to DTG and DTF printing in my store or in my shop, or actually all the shops I had. We've always had one dedicated office for DTG and DTF because we used to control the humidity in there. Um, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure on the brand of ink that we used to run through those. How did you start on TikTok? I just opened up a TikTok account and started making videos. That's all I did. I'm doing my first vending event this Saturday at Lake Fest, Oakland. Do you have any tips for interacting with the people? Hell yeah. Two tips would be give them some takeaways, discount codes, stickers. I would say no business cards. Use the stickers as your business cards. Um, that'll be like the best thing, especially like to attract people to the booth. If I don't know if your booth is going to be them walking in or you're going to set up a table on the perimeter of the booth and they're just going to walk by. That part I don't know what you're doing, but you want people to come and interact with what you're doing. So always 100% anybody that works any of the events that I do, festivals that I do, and they're working in my booth, I encourage everybody to talk to the people in there or around there. So if you've ever been to a festival that I've been at, you know, I have people outside talking to people walking by. I have people on the inside talking. I'm talking to people. It's just being personable with everybody and letting them know that you appreciate them just looking at your shit. You know what I mean? I don't try to force anybody to buy nothing, but I usually try to small talk everybody, you know, like shit, how you enjoying the festival? You know, what you eat? What's out there? I haven't even been out my booth yet. Like, you know, what are you looking at? What are you checking for? Where you from, anything. I get that sales mentality from when I used to sell cell phones in the middle of the mall. If you remember when the Sidekick first came out, when T-Mobile first came out, they came out with the very first Sidekick that had a black and white screen. That's when I worked for T-Mobile, early 2000s. I was in the middle of the mall in a kiosk hawking phones, trying to sell sidekicks to people. And at the time, people didn't know what the fuck a sidekick was because Nextel was a big thing at the time. So everybody was chirping each other. Boost Mobile was a thing at the time. People had two ways still and three ways. So I'm trying to sell them some new product. And the only way that I used to get people to come and open up new accounts with me is because I didn't even try to sell them the phone. I used to just have normal conversations with people. Somebody walked by and they're holding like there was a Foot Action down the way from where my kiosk was. I'm like, oh shit, man, what'd you get from Foot Action? Did they release those Jordans? Anything to get them to stop and talk to me, because my coworkers in the booth were all yelling at people, and they would hold the phone up and they'd be like, yo, what cell phone provider you got? Let me get you a new phone. Check out this new phone right here. And they're flicking out the Sidekick and all that shit, and nobody will stop him because we're programmed to not be sold anything. So I'm pretty sure you've done it where you're like somebody's trying to sell you some shit like a cell phone and you walk by pretending to be on the phone so you could intentionally ignore those people and not be sold anything. Or the dudes that are trying to clean your shoes and you like don't want to make eye contact with them because you don't want them trying to sell you some shoe cleaner. We all been through that, right? So you're programmed to already say no before anything. So instead of me trying to sell them when my coworkers are doing that, I would just ask random ass questions to people. And I just be like, yo, you're coming from Macy's? They had a long ass line out there. What were they selling? And like, oh shit, I don't even know. I just went to Macy's. As long as they stop to talk to you, you just chat them up. And then in the meantime, when I'm chatting them up, then I flick out the Sidekick, boom. And they'd be like, yo, what the fuck is that? I'm like, oh, it's a new phone. It's called the Sidekick. You could do AOL Instant Messenger on this thing. You could do your emails, text people. This thing flips up. And that's how I used to get people. It was just, I found out that people were intentionally ignoring us in the booth. So in order to get people to come and talk to me and even see the phone, I needed to find an in before they ignored me. So I would just ask random questions like, yo, I heard they just released the Jordan 9s. Did you get them? And they're like, what? No, I didn't know they released them. I just got some Air Force Ones or something. Like, oh, what color did you get? Just to get people to stop and talk. So do that when you're vending. Talk to the people walking by. Stand in front of your booth if you have to, and just be like, yo, did you get something to eat? Or how long you been here? Or how many vendors are over there? Or what's so and so selling? How long you been here? Did you park for it? You could make up all kind of shit to small talk somebody. So do that, and then as they're talking, then you could just slowly throw it in there, like, oh, check it out, this is my booth right here, man. I make these shirts. This is what my brand's all about. It's all about just getting people to be able to stop and talk to you, and that they're already there. They're at the festival. They're at the event to buy stuff, so they're looking to shop. You know what I mean? So I would say don't be overselly. Be personable. That's it. How should I start my business before I start making my t-shirts? Get on social media and start talking about what kind of t-shirts you're going to be making. You need to start creating content about what you're doing so people can trust you when you launch something. They'll be like, oh, that's a good person. I've been talking to him. I've been following the journey. I'll support him. I talked with the Loud Proud American guy. He has great ideas. Good luck at show. Loud Proud American is actually really dope and vends a lot too. He's a good person. Fizz selling a Racoma 10 needle, a heat press from Heat Press Nation, the magnetic coupe with the station, a bunch of different colors of thread for 4,500. Is that a good price? I think so. I would imagine that the embroidering machine is probably worth about 4 grand. Um, the heat press for sure is worth about 500. Magnetic magic hoops are very expensive. Yeah, it's a good price. So I guess you can sell ice to Eskimos. I wish I could, man, but I figured out customers. Customers is something that I've studied a lot on. That's why it makes selling t-shirts that much easier is when you understand the customer, you kind of know what to tell them or make for them or give them or create for them. It goes hand in hand, man. There's a difference between being a salesperson and being personable. That's for sure. That is for sure. Good night. The early morning wake up will be here before you know it. That's right. Treat them like people. That's it. That's it, man. I treat everyone like they're my best friend. There you go. Peanut butter and jelly donut looks so good on that short you uploaded. Hey, that peanut butter and jelly donut is good, man. Shout out to the Donuttery in Huntington Beach. That's probably easily top five, one of my favorite donuts from that place, man. I met Loud Proud American on social media recently. Yeah, that dude's cool, man. Good dude, vends a lot, has a good idea on what he's selling and who he's selling to. His shit's dialed in, man. You think I should get a press from Temu to start? Buy within your budget. Whatever you can afford, go for it. You can always upgrade your shit later. Doesn't matter. What's your go-to music or artist that motivates you to keep going? I listen to a lot of old reggae music. Um, Obviously like old hip hop and shit like that, but reggae music's uh what's on in my store in my shop daily. Um, but I listen to old shit, Steel Pulse, Oswald, Black Uhuru, um, Barrington, Gregory, all those guys, Barris. Um, but like Oswald and Steel Pulse are some of my favorites that I always listen to. But I also listen to like a lot of island reggae too, Fiji, J Bug, Common Kings, Fia, those guys. Were you or are you a sneakerhead? What other hobbies you have other than printing shirts? Yeah, man, I'm a retired sneakerhead. I mean, I still buy sneakers, still wear sneakers. I'm just not into them as much as I used to be. But yeah, I still buy. I only buy stuff that I like. My favorite shoes, the Neon 95. So obviously, when those came out, I got a bunch of those pairs. I wear a lot of Air Max ones, 95s, 97s. When it comes to Jordans, I probably still do Jordan ones, especially low tops. You always find me like Jordan 1 lows. Um, but usually just like classic colorway shit is what I'll do. Black toes, I'll do Chicago's, like the band one lows that just came out. I got those for me and my son. Um, Black cement threes. When the white cement threes come out this year, I'll get them. If the true blues come out this year, I'll probably get them. Um, Fours, not so much. Every now and then, I'll bust some fours, but not too much. Same thing, classic colorways. Infrared sixes are one of my favorites. Um, Bordeaux sevens. What else do I got in there? Nines, but now nines kind of fit me a little weird because of how you got to slip your foot into them. Sixes, I feel like you have to slip your foot into them, but like a wider opening, I guess. The nines fit me a little tight. I still wear tens. I know a lot of people don't like those. 11s I get just because of nostalgia sake. But I was a big like Nike SB dude when SBs first came out, early 2000s. I was big into that. Um, Pink box, silver box SBs, I was really into. Gold boxes where I was still doing it. Blue boxes when I kind of started to fizzle out from buying SBs. But yeah, I used to be heavy into sneakers, man. Oh, I wear a lot of New Balance now too. New Balance, Air Max. I'm guessing now that I'm older, I'm going for comfort more than looking cool. Let me see. Was that donut in Waikiki the worst one? It was one of them. One because of the price. This shit was expensive, and then it was dry. I had high hopes because I was hoping it was going to be like Donut King here at home in LA, but it wasn't. But I've had like a few other ones that were weird. Like some of them that I've had are like cold, with like they've been in the refrigerator cold. Some of them have like a weird like spongy check like texture. I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, Hawaii one was bad because it was stupid expensive and it wasn't like it sucked as a donut, man. It was weak. Let me see, fives that came out last weekend. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about, man. Yeah, I don't buy too many shoes like I used to, man. Basically a local boy. Hell yeah. You think going to the flea market worth it to start or start big? Nah, you got to go where your audience is. If your audience is at the flea market, go to the flea market. If your audience ain't there, you got to know who you're going to sell to first. So figure out who you want to make shit for, and then you start to offer it to them wherever they're at. So if your audience is going to flea markets, go to the flea market. If you're trying to sell like clothes to skaters, obviously you're going to be at the skate parks. If you're trying to sell shit to people that are into lowriders, obviously you're going to be where the lowriders are at. If you're going to try to sell shit to fishermen, you're going to be down by where people go fishing. Like you need to be where your audience lives. If I was trying to sell shit to sneakerheads, I'd be going to places like Dunk Exchange and SneakerCon and stuff like that. I'd be trying to meet up with people outside of sneaker stores. I'd be trying to figure out where all the sneakerheads hang out. Like when I used to be into sneakers, there's a thing called Kickspo. Dunk Exchange was a thing. Sneaker Pimps was a thing. And Sneaker Pimps used to just be for people that customize shoes. But that's where I used to sell t-shirts because I used to sell t-shirts to sneakerheads. I also used to have an ice cream truck that I used to sell t-shirts out of, and I would pull up on sneaker campouts. So when some shoes would come out, I'd pull up with shirts that matched the shoes that were coming out. Because back then, people used to match their clothes. Nowadays, people don't match clothes with their sneakers. But that's what I used to do. I used to pull up on people on the campouts selling t-shirts out of an ice cream truck that matched the sneakers that they're camping out for. And I know everybody in line got cash because they're waiting there to buy fucking shoes. And this is before like resellers were a thing, but people weren't like going crazy with the resale shit. They were buying their size to wear. So I would just pull up night before when people are camped out, like, yo, I got these shirts. They're gonna match the shoes that are coming out. Like I was doing this when countdown packs, if you remember what like CDP Jordan packs, um, when those would release. So I would just pull up, people would have that. I did it when Yeezy dropped his first shoe. I used to do it, yeah, long ago. But just knowing who you want to sell to is going to help you tremendously. Like really think about that shit. Who are you going to make clothes for? Who are you going to sell it to? So then that way the creation process will be geared directly to that group of people. And then you bring that product, whatever you're making, to those people. And you already know they're going to be interested in it because you did your research on who you want to sell to. Knowing your customer, game changer, man, game changer. I can't stress that enough. Almost in every live, if you go back and rewatch every single live stream I've done, I've always told people to know your audience, know your customer, who you're making shit for. You know what I mean? AOL, what's that? That's fucking crazy, right? If you think about it, like AOL chat rooms was a thing. AOL Instant Messenger was a thing. Now it's a thing of the past, man. Which brand of blank cotton tees do you think has the best fitted cut? I would go with AS Color Staple. So AS Color has a bunch of different like models. I use the classic, which is cool. That's what I'm wearing right now. But if you wanted a fitted one, I would say the Staple tee. A few people that I've helped start like fitness brands and stuff like that, I put them on that, and those guys have like dope physiques and shit. And those t-shirts fit them. Had a good collar, very soft cotton, lightweight, and then it had like the right sleeve length and sleeve like so your shit's like hugging the arm. So if you're in the gym working out, like the shit shows it off pretty good. That was probably like the best uh fitted t-shirt was the AS Color Staple. And they got like a million colors on their site. So if you're trying to like if you're building your brand around the AS Color Staple, easy call. It's a dope t-shirt. Not for like me, like I'm a big dude. I don't like my t-shirts to fit like that. So I don't wear them. But for that, if you're looking for a fitted shirt, that's where it's at. Tight in the right places, I guess you could say. Or fitted in the right places. Thank you so much for your knowledge and experience. Not a problem, man. That's what this live stream is for. Trying to help the people. If you guys got any more questions, man, shoot them out now. If not, I'll jump off, let everybody get back to doing what they were doing. We're almost at 9 o'clock. So I'll stick around for 4 minutes till 9 o'clock. Thank you for all your information. Not a problem, man. Not a problem. On the block tee, do you experience the sleeves getting a little tight? Like when you're wearing the block tee? I haven't experienced them. Maybe after like a few washes. That's it. Which one do you wear? I'm wearing the classic tee. This is the AS Color Classic t-shirt. Big fan. Timothy Lino, what's happening? Thanks so much for what you do. Been watching you for a while. On my accounts, got a small embroidery business going, but I have the HPN True Spec. Hell yeah, coming in. That's what I'm talking about. Get that money, Timothy. That's a beast of a machine. Um, but I'll say this, man. Your embroidery business, it ain't small, man. Your embroidery business is a fucking business. You know what I mean? That's to me is I rarely try to use the term small business or anything like that. If anything, I'll say startup business or new business. But our businesses aren't small, motherfuckers. Like it's business is business. You know what I mean? Like if we're getting after it, we're getting after it. You know what I mean? Be proud of that, man. So next time when you let me know, just let me know you got an embroidery business and you got a heat press coming in. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm talking about, man. That's dope. Faith and identity based apparel. That's right. I love how simple but loud your designs are. My design background comes from graffiti, so that's why a lot of my designs are like text heavy and um, in graffiti. Just being a tagger and writing, everything has to look symmetrical when you write. If it doesn't, it looks dumb. It looks off. It's not balanced. So I've always been intrigued with just balanced letters, making sure if this side is heavier, I got to add some weight on this side. It's got to look symmetrical. It's got to look right. But that's why a lot of my designs are like that. They're very text heavy because I'm into writing. I'm into just creating letters and stuff like that. So that's why my designs look like that. But when you say that they're simple, it's because I'm trying to make something like impactful and that's just like boom. Um Not in your face, but just speaks to you. And I want somebody to get it right away. Like I don't want somebody to sit there and be like, what does this mean? I want somebody to see it, get it, relate to it, and be on your way. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I go for with all my designs is something that's just like boom, here it is. If that makes sense. That's where that comes from, is from old graffiti stuff. It's Fresh Clean Tees use next level t-shirts. Just ripping the tag off and putting their own t-shirt logo on it. I have no idea. I don't know Fresh Clean Tees. I don't know who they are. The donuttery look nuts. How many kinds of donuts do they run? They got racks and racks, and then they have the glass cabinet in the front full of donuts. So I have no idea how many they do. They even do vegan donuts in there. It's crazy. And they're open 24 hours. And I've never been there when there hasn't been a line. There's always somebody or people in there buying donuts all hours of the day. It's crazy. Thank you. That's why you're my role model, brother. Look, hell yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. Model car, what's happening? It's the in my design process. That's usually what I go to first. Is if it has to do with text, it has to look symmetrical. It has to look balanced. It has to look appealing because that's how I used to paint walls and stuff like that. Is like you want to paint some shit that's going to be in people's faces, but at the same exact time look clean. And I was never even the best writer out of my whole crew, man. Like the guys that I grew up with, they really knew how to write, and I was just kind of emulating their style a little bit. But the dudes that I used to run with, man, like they were real artists, man, and they got it, they understood it, naturally got it, and I was just trying to play keep up with them. So the shit that you see me make is a fraction of what those dudes can create. Like I have a homie, man, shout out to white boy Chris. I met up with him in Vegas. Um, but we're talking about art and stuff like that because my I've always wanted to be a tattoo artist, but my hands are too shaky to do it. And I would hate to like mess up people's lives by giving them crappy tattoos. But that's where my love for lettering came from, was seeing the dope ass tattoos from dudes from my neighborhood with dope ass lettering on them, and then I used to go home and then try to recreate those letters on a pad or in my sketchbooks and stuff like that, like, or when I used to tag in black books, and I would just try to recreate. Like I've got so down with it where I can do old English B's, like the capital B, out of memory. Like I could draw that now out of memory because I used to just think like, all right, my name's Brandon. Let me try to just like figure this out. You know what I mean? Figure out how to do this one letter at a time. Then I just got really good at it. And then I knew that I wasn't going to be a tattoo artist, but the homie Chris could be a tattoo artist or was apprenticing to be a tattoo artist because he's dope as hell. He draws insanely good, dope ass lettering, dope ass graffiti artist. But at the same exact time, he just has it in him. And that's something like I don't like I said, I'm still trying to just emulate what my homies were doing. So when I do these t-shirt designs, the background comes from graffiti and tattoo lettering and stuff like that. That's why like I picked the fonts that I picked. That's why I kind of line up letters the way I do and manipulate letters the way I do because I'm trying to envision it like if it's a graffiti piece or something, if that makes any sense. Probably doesn't, but that's kind of the explanation. You have any advice for making t-shirts for soccer games coming up? Hell yeah. Any country, any flag, put it on a t-shirt, sell it to people. I've been doing this for the last 2 weeks since the World Cup's been here, and I've been cleaning up. I've been putting my other homies are doing it. I gave this example earlier. The homie from San Pedro makes t-shirts. He did this Mexico design, AI Mexico design. He slammed it on one t-shirt. He went to a watch party. Everybody was asking him for it. The very next Mexico game, they were hosting it in San Pedro, a watch party. He brought a bunch of t-shirts in a bag, went to the watch party, wore the t-shirt, sold out. So there's so much money to be made during the World Cup right now that everybody should be doing this shit. There is tons of money to be made. I live in Los Angeles, so Mexico there's a gazillion fans here in Los Angeles. There's so much money to be made. Same thing with the US, same thing with Korea, same thing with Japan, same thing with Colombia and Ecuador that are still in there. There's just money to be made. You know what I mean? There's people that are Argentina fans just because of Messi, and you can make Argentina stuff and kill with that. There's just so much money to be made when it comes to the World Cup and soccer stuff. So, highly recommend doing it. If you haven't already, do it. Mrs. Price said, "Graffiti vibe makes sense to me. I'm Gen X. Hell yeah, makes sense to me. You know what I mean? I'm making a Mexico shirt right now. Easy money. Hell yeah. Thrifty thrifter. I'm telling you, it's like fishing with dynamite, man. Right now, within the States, there's so much money to be made when it comes to the World Cup stuff. And I'm just talking locally speaking, like I'm selling shit in person. If you did this shit online, there's tons of money online for this kind of stuff. Like I did my research. I went around to my local mall just to see what jerseys are selling out so then I know what t-shirts I can make. Mexico sold out in the malls. So that means people are buying Mexico jerseys to represent at these watch parties. So that means I can make Mexico t-shirts to sell to people. There's a feeding frenzy for it. Same thing with the USA jerseys, sold out everywhere. So people are going to buy the USA jerseys to represent the USA so I can make USA t-shirts. I know people are actively buying this stuff because I see it in the mall. The racks are empty. There's no USA, there's no Mexico, there's no Korea, there's no Japan. I know I can make money with all this stuff here in the South Bay. So that's all I'm doing. I'm feeding the frenzy. That's it. That's it. We got 2 games coming up in San Francisco. Hell yeah. Like I think they're playing at Levi Field, right? That's Santa Clara. So there's got to be watch parties all over San Francisco or just all over the Bay. Everywhere they're hosting these games, they're doing like these like World Cup watch parties, like these big ones. And I'm finding out where they're at, and that's where I'm knowing where everything's going down at. So I'm just like, Mexico game's coming up tomorrow. I'm making shirts for the Mexico game. USA game is on Thursday. I'm making shirts for that. Like that's all I've been doing for these last couple of weeks since the World Cup's been here, because it's like I said, it's easy money. It's not a like you guys seen the Mexico shirt I made. That's not a lot of thought going into that. They're just easy to do. Still love my red and black low Jordans from the 80s. There's my collection of all color Crocs. I don't care how they look, comfort. That's what I'm talking about, man. Making some designs right now too, bro. World Cup, World Cup. That's all it is, man. I've been trying to tell people this is how I've been making money. Everybody can make this kind of money, man. Crazy thing, it's not even crazy designs, just the country and maybe a flag or something. And that's it. And none of that's trademarked, none of that's copywritten. You could use that stuff, man. The city, you could use the flags, you could use the colors. It's easy. It's I can't stress how easy it is to make these shirts for the World Cup fans to make some money, man. It's crazy. All right, I appreciate y'all for jumping on. I appreciate all the World Cup talk because if you're out here making money during the World Cup, you're doing yourself a really good service. You know what I mean? I'm doing it. You guys should be doing it too. There's money for all of us out here. If you wanted to rewatch this live at any time, it'll be live on YouTube. And we do this every single Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We did like 2 hours today. Shout out to everybody who jumped on and kept this live rolling, man. Catch you guys on next one, man. Peace.